There's a few questions here around the macro side of things. Do you feel that we're in an uranium bubble? Is now the time to be investing in uranium? You want to speak to that at all?
Sure. So I kind of put things in my own career historic perspective, and so in 2003, I was actually 2004. I was approached to get back move from a large company where I was doing principally reclamation work and getting ready to get into the copper business, to go re-enter the back end of the uranium industry. And I saw some of the same things I'm seeing today. And one is that there's a disconnect between supply and demand, and so and also the fact is that repeatedly we see the fact that there's depletion of these inventories that have currently been sustaining the nuclear reactors, nuclear fleets. These inventories are getting shorter. Utilities are in their perspective, are looking more and more like at effectively just-in-time inventories, increasing their risk levels on their fuel supply. So we see them getting closer and closer to having demands. And in fact, that's been confirmed by conversations I've been having with utilities, that the window when they have openings for new need for supply is getting closer to 2021. In other words, it's 1 to 2 years out when they look to start trying to fill those gaps than it would have been if I would have been looking at it a few years ago, where they had like 4 or 5 years before they had anything coming open. So we're seeing more opportunities, and also the fact is that demand's not going to go down; it's going to increase. But we're not seeing there's no new projects coming online right now. So fundamentally, there's becoming a greater and greater disconnect between supply and demand, and the supply needs, which are currently filled by principally secondary supplies, those are going away, and they're depleting because we don't have an infinite amount of material floating in the churn, so to speak. And so I see that, from our perspective, and it's opinion only, is that we see this happening sooner, and we believe it's sustainable. And so when I try to relate back to my 2004 timeline, when we talk about is this a bubble or is it sustainable? Based on my experience, everything's, from the market sense and everything else, I believe it's sustainable. I don't believe we're going to see the spikes that we saw back in 2006 and 2007, which were driven by some very, very tight constraints that were short-lived. I believe this is going to be sustainable. The one thing we want to do is make sure the utilities, our principal customers, feel that they got some security, not only in supply but also in cost. We can't forget the fact that they need to be cost competitive with other sources of generation, and so we can't just basically we want to be competitive. We want them to be competitive, so it'll be sustainable going forward. And I believe that's the case.